Celebration time. It don't matter what part of the jewel you come from. You da you and me da me. But guess what? All are we the one. See what I mean? Jump and shout all over the nation. We're breaking out with a new creation.
Clifton Hall, affectionately known as Durr, worked as a sound technician at the now defunct Radio Belize. He is also one of the earliest settlers of Belmopan. He recently sat down with our Belize Watch team to reminisce about his work at Radio Belize and the challenges of moving to a new municipality to raise a family. We will have that conversation after we hear from our partners. Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, the Barry, Shell Belize, and the National Gas Company.
Shell V-Power, with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
We are the Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio Cayo, Orange, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. The Barry. Get more? Be less.
Since 2008, the Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust has created opportunities for Belizeans to develop themselves and their communities. The trust employs tools that are intuitive, collaborative, and accessible so that every Belizean is empowered to achieve their full potential. Over 200,000 Belizeans have been impacted because of our various initiatives. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, empowering Belizeans of today to create the Belize of tomorrow.
Let's be real. Forget the propaganda, forget the hype, forget the gimmicks. When it comes to butane, only 2 things really matter: the value you get and how long you can stretch your dollar. That's it. Butane is my business. It's how I feed my family. It's how I send my kids to school. What matters to you matters to me. With NGC, the quality of the butane is better. In fact, customers say tanks last as much as 2 weeks longer. And the cost, it's 1 cost period, whether you pick it up in the north, south, or by Belmopan. 1 supplier, 1 cost, no games. This lets me compete on a fair basis, and I can then pass on better prices to you, my customers. It's as simple as that. I am Stephen Bissett, and I deliver butane in the Belize district. NGC has been good for us in Belize. We welcome the transparency, we welcome the better product, and we welcome the fairness that now prevails.
The National Gas Company Belize Limited, fueling Belize forward.
Well, I have the honor and privilege of being at the home of an old friend of mine. We go way back. I think he is one of the first persons I saw when I walk up to Radio Belize as a frightened 17-year-old with a script, and was given a script to read, and then taken to a studio and given a voice test. And the man who was recording that voice test is here with me right now, and I'm talking about Clifton Hall, the one and only Clifton Hall. Clifton was the technical assistant at that time, and that's the first time I met Clifton, but I didn't know who he was till after I started working. Then I realized, oh, that you do the recording, right? But, you know, Clifton, I have always, thank you for having me here in your home, but I have always wondered, what were your impressions when that recording was done? If I could start off there. Thank you for receiving me, though.
Okay, you're welcome anytime to come here, Rain. I would never chase you away, but...
I've been here several times in the past, but this time is to record.
I could remember you came, you were sent to the studio by the Prime Minister at the time, I think, Charles Price.
Premier Price.
Yeah, Premier Price, to do a voice test, right? Because I don't know how you got there, how you met him or what, but you came over and we invited you into the studio to do the recording since you were sent by the Premier. And you did some Spanish speaking, which was very good Spanish. And then you tried English, which was not so good.
And you all laughed. I remember when I did my English, you all were laughing. But you did not laugh at the Spanish. And I think it was the other way around. I did the English first and then the Spanish. But anyway,
but let me see who was there. Oh, Eddie Seferino Coleman. He was the first one. He said, Spanish, good. English, and he gave a thumbs down for the English, which means your English wasn't so good. But I'm proud to say that you was given the job and you improved that English part of it very quickly. You know, you became a fairly good announcer.
Well, thanks for saying that. Clifton Hall. we could maybe you could maybe share with me some of your memorable times that you can recall at Radio Belize.
First of all, I told you I was employed as a messenger, and after 1 week as a messenger, I was transferred to the Radio Belize section and was made a technician, grade 1, which was learning stages. It was difficult. I was, 24 years old, and had no idea what I was supposed to do as a technician. And we have had some older people there who would not help you. They would not teach you anything. I remember there was old guys. They were doing repairs and things, and I would go and say, "Why are you doing this? And what is that for? And what? Don't deny me, no, Bradley." You know, and they turn your back on you. So what I learned there, I practically learned by myself. You know, with the help of maybe a senior technician. All and I was Guy Sonneford was my senior, and I think I advanced pretty quickly, and became one of the better technicians at Radio Belize. I was once made the studio manager, a recording technician, and afterwards I just came to Belmopan in '72. But
which is where we want to go right now. Tell me about that transition to Belmopan.
I want to say that those years in Cartouche building there, we became like a family. I used to look forward to go to work in the morning, you know. Yeah. We were all friends and we worked together as a family.
I can recall those days.
Yeah.
I can recall those days at Radio Belize. At the back of what you were saying, we operated like a family indeed. We were very close. All of us were very close to each other. All of us loved what we were doing. Yeah. And it was a unique position to be in, because in my case, I got to know you when I was 17 years old, going for 18. That's when you took that voice test. And the rest is now history. And I just feel proud to know that I can still sit here and talk to the gentleman who recorded me when I was looking for an opportunity to stay and work in Belize. So, like I said, it's a privilege and an honor for me to talk to you. But you are one of the pioneers of Belmopan as well. I know you came to Belmopan in its very early years. And Belmopan became officially inaugurated in 1970, but from 1968, 69, somewhere around there, people were already moving to Belmopan in 1969 and what have you. So maybe you could take us back to your connection with Belmopan and how you came to live in Belmopan.
Okay. Belmopan, when Belmopan was open, it was open mainly to civil servants. Government departments were moving to Belmopan. In fact, I can say the administrative section of the government moved their offices to Belmopan. I said I moved here in 1970, which is true, but I didn't started working here in 1970. But my wife, who was the secretary to the clerk of the National Assembly, had to move to Belmopan. So I had to move as well. So I commuted for like 2 years before I was transferred to Belmopan. Radio Belize decided that they were going to build a studio in Belmopan to accommodate government ministers, civil servants, anybody, who wanted to do anything connected with Radio Belize, doing a recording or something. Instead of going to Belize City, he could come to my studios and do that recording. I must say it wasn't very much used. Yeah, but I was still here.
But you were also responsible for the live broadcast and the recording of all the sessions of the National Assembly as well, right?
Right. I did all the verbatim recordings of the House of the Representatives. And I was doing that since the first National Assembly, or the first legislative body, which was in the old Treasury building upstairs. Since then, I've been doing the recording of those meetings.
So it's a natural thing for you to transfer to do it in Belmopan when the legislative body was transferred to Belmopan, or transferred itself to Belmopan.
Yes, yes. And I continued doing that until I retired, which was 1991. When I retired.
Let me get some of the recollections of your early Belmopan. What do you recollect of early Belmopan, moving to Belmopan, and how hard was it to settle in? What were some of the things that used to happen around here and that kind of thing?
It don't matter what part of the jewel you come from. You da you and me da me. But guess what? All are we the one.
Well, the early Belmopan was a new city, so we had to do some adjustment coming from Belize City to Belmopan without having all the necessary facilities and amenities that we had in Belize City, But I can say, for myself, once I came to Belmopan, I didn't look back at Belize City.
Oh, yeah?
Right. And in those days, they used to call it all kind of names.
Yeah.
Modipan, Belmopan. But it was all right. What could one expect from the development of a new city just being built without having some misfortune, or not misfortune, but well, not the one of the things I remember and why they call this place Belmopan also, when you was going home from work, you had to walk. Some of the walkways, they weren't properly finished, so you had to be walking into soft mud. This place was you have to remember this place was a pasture, complete bush. And they had to do all the cleaning and things. So naturally, you will find soft soil. So when you got home, you had to take your shoe off with about 2 or 3 inches of mud on it. I had to take your shoe off, leave it outside, and walk into your house. And that kind of thing caused Belmopan to have some weird names.
No.
No, some of which I can't call. But
Stocky than the mud. But Clifton, the houses in Belmopan, there was a time when you used to hear that the houses were too small and they don't want to go to live in those small houses. But you came and you took one of those houses and built it how you want. Talk to me about that feeling about the housing in Belmopan at the time.
When we came here, we were shown houses, 2 bedroom, 1 bedroom, 3 bedrooms. You choose which one you wanted. This was the first house I came, and this was the first house they showed me, and I accepted this one right away. Why? Because it was next to the high school, next to the school. And I have children going to the school, who were at school age anyway. So I settled in this one. I never moved. But this was a 3-bedroom house. It's not a 3-bedroom house anymore because
I noticed you have done a lot of amendments over the years. Because I could remember the 3-bedroom house indeed, coming up here and maybe getting some water or eating in your house. But it was, I can remember what it was, and when I look at it now, it's a whole different story I'm looking at.
Well, I had 7 children, so 3-bedroom wasn't going to be enough for me.
So you expanded the house as you went along. And you see a lot of your friends and neighbors did that, right?
Yeah. People used to go back to the bad name they used to give Belmopan. People used to call the place all kind of thing. When hurricane, you can't walk. Yeah, boats and all kind of thing park on the street there. So it was a refuge for those people who didn't like it. And I know people who objected to Belmopan have 2, 3 houses up here right now, And I always remind them, I said, boy, you never like this place, look.
This was a vision, really. You had to have good vision to see the future of Belmopan at the time, because it was just jungle, the pasture and jungle and raw land, which was converted into a city.
Yes. Like I tell you, this whole place, I think they used to call it Little Orange Walk. Belonged to Henry Melado. And he graciously passed all this land over to government for the building of Belmopan.
Melado had, the land was Melado's land. Right? And I know Don Hector has given me a story on this as well, as how in cabinet, how they worked out the acquiring of the land that is today the city of Belmopan, our capital city, and a very proud city at that too.
Yeah, but I can't tell you anything about how they walkout was done. But I knew it was Melado's land, and I knew government was negotiating with Melado to get the land, no? But how did Belmopan come about?
Well, yeah, you tell us. I know the story, but you tell us.
But we had a very large hurricane in 1961, Hurricane Hattie. Which brought along a lot of water, did a lot of damage to Belize City, and destroyed a lot of government records and a lot of buildings, you know. And George Price, the man he used to be and the way he used to think, decided that, hey, we need a new city, someplace inland where this kind of thing can happen. So that's how Belmopan started. He negotiated with the British, and we were British governed at the time. Yeah, we were a colony of Great Britain. And the British decided to agree with him and decided that they will finance the building of a new city. And so Belmopan came about.
I can recall Mr. Price, because when Hurricane Hattie hit Belize, I was 11 years old. And I had started Worcester College because they had prep in Worcester College preparing you to go into high school. So I was I think in 2A at Worcester College, which was not necessarily in college itself, but the prep preparing you. And I was here for Hattie. I spent Hattie on Freetown Road. But I can recall Mr. Price paddling and there's a picture of it as well, around in a dory, announcing hope that there will be a new capital built inland. That's the first time I heard about what is today Belmopan. You can recall those moments when Mr. Price used to walk around the wreckage in Belize City with a loudspeaker saying that they will build a new city inland?
Yes, he used to walk around to see what happened in the city and what's going on. You know? And from then he had the foresight of building this new city. And he didn't let it go, you know. So we have the new city built.
When we come back, Hall speaks about throwing his hat into the political arena and what led to his disillusionment. We take a break to hear from our partners.
B&E Charitable Trust, working in the development of Belize by inspiring young Belizean entrepreneurs to dream and to dream big. The National Gas Company, fueling Belize forward. The National Gas Company makes sure that you not only have a guaranteed supply of gas for every household need, but also that it is of the highest quality always. Shell Belize has been fueling Belize for many, many years, and they have done so reliably and with a lot of dependability. And the Barry stores in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio, Orange Walk, and San Pedro, offering you much more for much less. Shell V-Power, with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
We are the Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio Cayo, Orange Rock, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. The Barry. Get more? Pay less.
Since 2008, the Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust has created opportunities for Belizeans to develop themselves and their communities. The Trust employs tools that are intuitive, collaborative, and accessible so that every Belizean is empowered to achieve their full potential. Over 200,000 Belizeans have been impacted because of our various initiatives. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, empowering Belizeans of today to create the Belize of tomorrow.
Let's be real. Forget the propaganda. Forget the hype. Forget the gimmicks. When it comes to butane, only two things really matter: the value you get and how long you can stretch your dollar. That's it. Butane is my business. It's how I feed my family. It's how I send my kids to school. What matters to you matters to me. With NGC, the quality of the butane is better. In fact, customers say tanks last as much as 2 weeks longer. And the cost, it's one cost period, whether you pick it up in the north, south, or by Belmopan. One supplier, one cost, no games. This lets me compete on a fair basis, and I can then pass on better prices to you, my customers. It's as simple as that. I am Stephen Bissett, and I deliver butane in the Belize district. NGC has been good for us in Belize. We welcome the transparency, we welcome the better product, and we welcome the fairness that now prevails.
The National Gas Company Belize Limited, fueling Belize forward.
It don't matter what part of the jewel.
Clifton, what was it like settling down in Belmopan for you?
Really, there was no difficulty in that for me. You know, I was glad to get out of Belize City. I didn't know what Belmopan would be bringing, but I was happy to.
What was your reaction when people were mudslinging Belmopan? I said mudslinging because
I used to join them because it was a fact.
Fun, no?
It was a fact, you know. We had a lot of mud, a lot of discomfort sometimes, so that didn't do me anything. The few people who was around here, right over in front of me was Andy Johnson, you know, the magistrate.
I remember Andy very well.
Yeah.
That's
Mr. Coleman, Carl Coleman, the late Carl Coleman,
Yeah.
Alvan Neal, a few other people, and our fun on a Friday night or Saturday night was to sit on the bridge that crossed to come in this house. We used to sit there, over the drain, sit there maybe with a bottle of rum or something and chew the rock, you know. And that was a lot of fun for us.
So those who stayed in Belmopan were like sort of tight-knit as compared to those who would just make Belmopan their work spot.
We were family, almost like families. Everybody knew everybody. Not like, no, I don't know some of the people at all that is around here, but we used to know everybody from this street down to the last street, because there wasn't too much people. So we knew each other. But now, some of the people, but some of them know me because they would pass and say, "Hi, Mr. Hall." Hi, this, you know. Hi, there. I really can't say who they are, but they know me, you know.
You have had that name Dor from you're very young. I've always known you as the Dor Hall, Clifton Hall. Where did Dor come from? If I could ask you that at this point in your life.
Well, the word Dor means a lot of things. Okay. Mine came when I was young. Used to hang out at a saloon, Bishop Saloon. And boys, they used to play card there, you know, gamble. One day, the guy who used to run the game wanted to go out, and he called me and said, "Come and sit here for me until I come back." The other fellows came in and said, "What? New door?" Because the guy, the guy who used to run the games, they call him Dur. So when they saw me, I said, "What, new Dur?" And that was it. That's Dur stuck on me for the rest of my life up to
Cliff, the Cliff.
I tell you, but Dur, we were running. I was running for the first city council here, and after the election, I met a lady. He said, "Man, I wanted to vote for you, but I didn't see your name on the ballot." I said, "Yes, man, my name was there, Clifton Hall." He said, "No, I look for Dur." You know?
You lost a vote there.
Yeah. That just show you, how things happen.
So you were part of the first city council of Belmopan, right? Running as Clifton Hall, not as Dur Hall. Right? Now, what was it like? Tell me the campaign, because I remember, I know you as somebody in radio and what have you, but the Dur became a politician. Now, tell me, wanting to serve his community. So, how did that begin?
It don't matter what part of the jewel they come from. You that you and me that me.
Well, I was always a people person, and I like people. I like to be around with people. And I thought this was a way to try and help people, or to get more friendly with people and things, Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. I really thought I would have enjoyed it.
You didn't enjoy being a councillor?
Nah.
Why?
Because people expected too much out of you. Okay. Once you get into that, they feel like you have money. And I have people coming to my door 5 o'clock in the morning, want to borrow money. I didn't like that. I mean, I didn't chase them away. But one of my things when we were campaigning, I used to tell them, we will try and help you all. Not meaning individually, but we are going to try and help you develop your community, especially those people in Belmopan and things like that. They took that to mean something else, So they come bugging you. And I didn't like that part of it.
So you only did that one term?
We did 2 terms.
You did 2 terms.
Yeah. The second term, I made sure to put Clifton Hall on there.
Make sure you got all the votes this time, that time, right?
Yeah. The people back there that were squatting, there were a lot of, all those people, most of them were squatters. People used to say they are Spanish from Salvador, because, at that time,
Refugees, they were refugees, they had a civil war.
Yeah, but when I found out it was mostly Belizean from down south, from villages down south, that they also came up here to squat.
And so did you all facilitated them with the land, making the land available to them eventually?
Eventually, yeah, we gave them their land, and that settlement started. And it's amazing to me right now, the amount of people living and buildings, nice building, that is back there, man. I'm lost if I go back there.
Yes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We've seen a massive development of Belmopan.
Right. Yeah. There was a Belmopan, San Martin, Las Flores, all those people, they're small towns around. Yeah. much developed. Yeah.
And now sitting here and reminiscing about Belmopan and its early days, how you feel there? How you feel? How you see your contribution to your city, and how you feel overall as a citizen of Belize, but living in the capital, Belmopan, and one of the original settlers of Belmopan?
Well, personally, I feel satisfied in some of the things that we were able to do, but nobody paid that no mind. And but I would say I wouldn't do it again, but I have to think about it. But it's a gratifying feeling to know that you have had a part in developing your city. And that makes you feel good sometimes,
You reflect back on what it was and what it became when you left it, what you brought it to become.
Yeah. Politically, it's not nice. Because politics is not a nice game, man. But we made it.
You were with Mayor Shanona, right? Anthony Shanona, and his that first city council that was formed when Belmopan was declared as the city of Belmopan.
That was the first city council.
And I think that's where the whole revolutionizing and the whole building of blossoming of Belmopan started.
I feel proud too to be a part of that blossoming, because we started that. We started that development business. Get people a land and have people build their houses. All that used to be run by Recondev. But when the city council got in, Recondev still used to issue land and things. But they sided with us. We used to collect the property taxes and things. So that's how you got a little money, I think. Besides the little subvention government used to give us every month. But that's the way it was run.
We will wrap up our conversation with Clifton Hall after we hear from our partners, Shell Belize, the Barry, the National Gas Company, and Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust.
Shell V-Power, with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
We are the Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, Sa Ignacio Cayo, Orange, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. The Barry. Get more? Pay less.
Since 2008, the Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust has created opportunities for Belizeans to develop themselves and their communities. The Trust employs tools that are intuitive, collaborative, and accessible so that every Belizean is empowered to achieve their full potential. Over 200,000 Belizeans have been impacted because of our various initiatives. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, empowering Belizeans of today to create the Belize of tomorrow.
Let's be real. Forget the propaganda. Forget the hype. Forget the gimmicks. When it comes to butane, only 2 things really matter: the value you get and how long you can stretch your dollar. That's it. Butane is my business. It's how I feed my family. It's how I send my kids to school. What matters to you matters to me. With NGC, the quality of the butane is better. In fact, customers say tanks last as much as 2 weeks longer. And the cost, it's one cost period, whether you pick it up in the north, south, or by Belmopan. One supplier, one cost, no games. This lets me compete on a fair basis, and I can then pass on better prices to you, my customers. It's as simple as that. I am Stephen Bissett, and I deliver butane in the Belize district. NGC has been good for us in Belize. We welcome the transparency, we welcome the better product, and we welcome the fairness that now prevails.
The National Gas Company Belize Limited, fueling Belize forward.
It don't matter what part of the jewel.
Now, having seen the development of Belmopan, when we look at Belmopan today, there are shops maybe almost all over the place, and so on. Compare that build up to me. How you see that build up? How it happened?
Okay, like I said, when we started up here, when we moved up here, there wasn't any big business. There was a commissary, they call it, owned by Mr. Spot on Toucan, where we could go and shop for groceries and so, you know. But that was it. But a few years later, man.
Brothers came fairly early, right? Brothers came a bit early too, didn't they?
Well, Mr. Mena started that business where Brody's is. And I think after a couple of years he sold it to somebody. I remember where. I think it was Mahong who was running it. You know, Cirilo Mahong, the late, and then he sold it to Brody's, I think, afterwards. So Brody's has been there quite a few years now. Yeah.
A long time, anyway.
Yeah. But like I tell you, I'm not good at dates.
But talking about dates, in 1965, the Secretary of State for the United Kingdom of Colonies, Anthony Greenwood, visited, and that Stella that is by the Hector Silva airstrip was inaugurated, and there Mr. Price did his famous limestone of Pelican speech. Yeah. What are your recollections of that?
I can't forget that day. You know, I think Mr. Greenwood came here to look at the development of Belmopan. He was the Secretary of State, from England. England was giving us money to build the new city. I don't think that was too much for them because we were governed by them. We were colonial.
We were a colony of Great Britain.
Great Britain, yeah. So
really, they controlled the country. It was you know, we didn't.
And Belmopan started. The construction started around that time.
We had local government. That's why Mr. Price could have influenced Belmopan.
Yeah, he had just gotten the stage of local government where we were starting to run our own affairs. Yeah. So I think Mr. Greenwood came here to inspect and to look at the building of Belmopan and what was happening. And that Stella was put up there as a commemoration of his visit. Yeah. Right. No, I said to you that I would never forget that day.
Why? Why you not forget that day?
We had two activities that day for Mr. Greenwood visit. The inauguration of that Stella and a big cultural evening in Belize City at Memorial Park. Guy, my co-worker, he came up here to do that part of it for Radio Belize. I was left in Belize City to look after the cultural evening and get Memorial Park prepared and everything. Why I said I would never forget that day is when that cultural evening was finished, after spending the whole afternoon at Memorial Park setting up, preparing, and to make sure that everything didn't even go for supper at the out there. And after the thing was finished, the cultural evening was finished, I was so happy, man. Everything ran smoothly because I know Mr. Price was going to be there. And he was very meticulous of what. If you put up a speaker, he want to hear it at his house.
He knew the range of almost how everything would work. Yeah. It's amazing what he knew, how he would go for detail. You know?
As I said, I was so happy that everything went well. Now, in those days, we had to play two anthems. The British anthem and introducing the Belizean anthem. We had the British anthem on a disc. So Malcolm Sargent conducting the BBC orchestra. Yeah, and we had the Belizean anthem on a cassette. So after the thing finished, Mr. Price called me. I said, I went to see him. I thought he was going to congratulate me having a good show.
I couldn't imagine what he told you, but you said.
He told me that how you play the British anthem louder than the Belizean anthem. Well, boy, I don't know when I flare up, but I threw some harsh words at him. First. So,
what was his reaction to your reaction?
So I said, well, that's this thanks you get for sacrificing your supper and all that. So he called the CBO. He said, you know, tell me them boy no gonna eat. You know how you go.
Okay. So he switched from telling you about the hardness of the anthem to the fact that you did not eat and scolded the chief broadcasting officer because he did not make you eat before coming home.
I told him, I said, boss, you just sit down here with your ears cocked to hear. So I used to call him boss. So he said, I said, no matter how you play those two anthems, the British anthem will sound more brilliant because it's on a disc with a big symphony orchestra. The cassette is on a tape. I mean, the Belizean anthem is on a cassette, which, you know, get the brilliance from the cassette like you get from the disc. So I tried to explain that to him. Well, you know, go eat, man. We again, me, Sandyford, we went to Sandy's. Yeah. And we drank a case of Heineken beer. Send the bill now. When the bill came, Chief Broadcasting House said, who want to pay for this? I said, I don't know. Prime Minister said me gonna eat. I never hungry, I'm thirsty.
It would have been Premier, I said you guys.
And we drank a case of Heineken beer. Send the bill to Radio Belize, man.
So that's why you don't forget that time.
I never forget that day. Not for the beer, but for the way he behaved.
Yeah. But he quickly pulled back when he, you know.
Yeah.
What he was
I used to tell him, you know, boss, you look for kill people, I work with you. He said, boy, that's how I start. I know him satisfied, my own handwriting. You know, things like that.
Yeah.
But, like I said, because of my family name, we couldn't get along, but we became very good friends in the end. I was his chef when he had visitors coming to this country. I prepared meals for him. Yeah.
So what would be some of your other recollections at George Price?
I recall that he had foresight. He had good. Well, he believed in what he wanted, and he never ceased trying to reach that point that he wanted. No, and in that, he was a very good man. Listen to people, like to have people around. And if I might say this, I don't know how much people know this about him, but he was a clown also. Liked to tease people.
Oh, he had a tremendous sense of humor. Oh, my goodness.
But I always did it in a subtle way.
Yeah.
And I used to travel around with him a lot, you know. People say, that man got a good memory, you know, forget people's names. But that wasn't so. He would go to a village, hey, Mr. Mahibit, how are you? He picked one of the popular names of the people at the village to address somebody, and he said, no man, I don't know Mr. Mahibit, I know Mr. Hume. Yes, man. Yeah. But he was like that. I remember once I was in San Ignacio with him, the opening of maybe it's Benkovio. They know they have the yearly fair. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple of guys from, and I was standing next to him. He said, the guy said, surprise, you don't got nobody get? He said, yes, man. See one of them right here?
That are you.
and he'd go on with things like that. But he was a fairly good gentleman. I mean, I'll say this, I don't think there will ever be another prime minister like George Price. Yeah. You know?
That is so true. That is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Yeah.
It was difficult. He had that was a unique character, you know, one of a kind.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was very good.
Well, indeed, it was a pleasure, really, talking to my good old friend Clifton Hall. I always remember Clifton, you know, and the role he played, especially in those early days when I went for that voice test that started my career in broadcasting at Radio Belize, right? So, Clifton, I'd like to wish you and your wife and your family all the very, very best. And I know we work together at good old Radio Belize, but, you know, it's a time of love. And so I will just say thanks for choosing love. Belize Watch. Knowledge of the past, impacting the present, building the future.
Celebration time. It don't matter what part of the jewel you come from. You that you and me that me. But guess what?